Wolfpack! Welcome to day 19. Here we are. We're at the end of the week and it's Friday and let's go out in absolute Wolfpack style. So wolves, let me hear you howl. Oh, let's get into tonight. Let's have an absolute blockbuster. I am absolutely out of breath. I have just dead set put myself into a full good state, a pure state, ready to rock tonight. Why? Because it is absolutely one of the key lessons that I think we have in the entire program. How is the pack howling tonight? I hope you're all well. Wolves, you have been absolutely amazing. You have come this far. Have you learned lots of fundamental lessons along with your journey with us so far? I'd love to hear exactly what your breakthroughs are. What have been your biggest learnings? How have you already applied them? And what has been the changes that you've actually made in your life? So make sure you jump into the comments box. Let us know all of that stuff because dead set, I do read every single message that comes through. I make sure every night that I go through and read all the messages. So guys, connect with us. Let us know how you're feeling. What can we do to improve your life even more? How can we add some more value? So tonight, we are going to address two of the biggest things in anyone's life, and that is the fear of failure and the fear of success. And we're going to teach you strategies to overcome these two usually crippling fears, right? So who's ready to blast these shit out of your life? Yeah? Let me hear you howl. Give me a howl. Awesome. All right, so let's do this. So when you think of success or failure, what feelings come up? What rules do you have? Whose rules are you living by? Remember yesterday's teachings, right? We have talked about at length neuro associations and meanings that you have attached and wired into your brain. We talked yesterday about the mixed associations that many have around financial abundance. Well, there are no other labels that have as many mixed associations of pain and pleasure as success and failure, right? This is an absolute just wormhole for most people. And that is why it is so important that we address it right now, okay? So wolves, get ready to rock and roll. The fears of failure and success are so intertwined. No wonder some of us get confused and actually just stop moving. First of all, what is fear, right? Fear is an emotional state which is activated to actually avoid pain, a powerful state to help us quickly take action. Fear can help us to become fully awake and alive and pay attention so we can get access to our deepest responses of fight or flight, right? This probably is why we attach fear to things that we don't feel any intensity about. We try something and it does not work out exactly how we expect it to, and then we call that failure. And we attach massive pain to it. Then when it comes up again, we have so much fear associated with it, we don't even go to try it again. Does that make sense? Can anyone relate to that? So wolves, we have got to break this pattern, and we've got to break this pattern right now. Fear is not what we want to avoid. Fear can be a useful emotion in the correct context. However, we want to eliminate fear when it's limiting us, not supporting us. Too many people anticipate the potential of problems or pain and generate the emotion called fear. Have you ever heard of the acronym FEAR? It means false evidence appearing real. That's what fear is, false evidence appearing real, right? So let me ask you something. How many times have you actually got afraid or concerned or really worried about something and associated so much pain and suffering to it, and then it never happened? Well, it did happen. It happened in your mind. You might as well have had the tragedy because your body, your physiology, and your mind went through the exact same emotions as if it actually did happen, and probably many times over. You may as well have had it happen once and experience it just once instead of running the movie over and over in your mind, right? So have you heard of the saying, a coward dies 1,000 deaths, a courageous man only one? See, the reason is because a coward runs the scenario over and over and over again, and a courageous man only dies the death that gets him, right? The only way failure is even possible is if you represent things in a certain way and you evaluate in a certain way. Only you give yourself permission to label yourself as a failure. Learn to have control over fear. Free yourself from fear. Sound good? Okay, so how do we change this shit programming? Well, first of all, failure is impossible when you create better rules of what determines failure and success. Does that make sense? All right, so exercise. Take out your pens and your journal, and I want you to write down, right now, I want you to write down what your rules are around success and failure. I want you to get a clear idea of what it takes to feel like a failure or a success. Okay, so start writing. Go! I want you to get in there. I want you to start writing. What does it take to make you feel like a failure? What actually must happen in order to feel failure? Right? What must happen in order for you to feel success? Write down the rules. Come on. What do you need to do to feel successful? What kind of things make you feel like a failure? Let me give you some examples. If you start saying, I haven't achieved all I set out to achieve in my life so far, right? Or I'm afraid to even try. What about something like, so therefore I am a failure, I didn't finish school. Or I only got a mark of 99 out of 100 in my exam, so I'm a failure. What about something like, I am only earning $1 million a year and I should be earning $3 million, so I'm a failure. It's pretty crazy. Or what about, I must feel happy all day to feel successful. What are your rules around failure and success? Come on, write these down. What about something like, I must achieve all my goals to be successful? That's a limiting belief right there. What about if I'm successful, people may not like me? Or if I have a higher standard of success, how do I keep succeeding? Many of you have got these rules and beliefs. Come on, write them down. Remember the example I gave you in week 1. All right? You have to wake up to feel successful. All right? If you wake up and say, oh, I'm breathing. If I'm breathing, I'm successful. Well, look at your definitions, okay? All right, pens down. All right, beautiful. All right, are these rules that you just wrote down appropriate to create happiness and success in your long-term life, right? If you are experiencing fear of failure or success on a daily basis, it's highly likely that you have some disempowering rules around failure and success. You must set up rules that make it hard for you to feel bad like a failure and a lot easier for you to feel great and successful. Right? Pretty simple strategy, but a lot of people miss this mark. So, you know you don't need to be changing or charging out there like a bull out of the gates to achieve, right? Mindlessly racing towards the target all the time. The key is balance. How about happily achieve rather than achieve to be happy? I want to say that again. How about you change happily achieve rather than achieve to be happy? That there in itself is a massive shift in language and also physiology, and that will change your life dramatically, right? Does that sound like a better option or a better life? And what about a rule like this one? No matter what the situation is, if I give my all and I learn something, I have succeeded. Would that be a more powerful emotion? Have fun and start creating some new rules with yourself. After all, right, guys, this is your life. Write your own rules. Write your own textbook in this one. Okay, here's another exercise. All right, right now I want you to grab your pens and your journal again, and I want you to write down 2 new empowering definitions for success and failure. Go. Write down 2 new definitions, empowering definitions around success and for failure. What must happen for you to feel like a success? What would it take for you to feel like a total failure? Would it be that you'd have to quit, maybe give up, right? Choose something that you would not want to do and you're not likely to do, or make sure it's hard to fail and easy to succeed, all right? I want you to really get into that. Write down 2 new empowering beliefs around success and failure. Make it hard to feel failure, make it very easy to feel success. 10 more seconds. Okay, done. Pens down, wolves. Excellent. So what new rules or definitions did you come up with? Share them in the comments box. I want to see these, right? I want to see these new definitions that you've created, because they're the foundation to release yourself from the bondage of fear, right? They're very, very important. So write them in the comments box. I want to see what you've wrote, and I'll be able to give you some feedback as I read through them a bit later tonight. Awesome. When fear comes up, you decide to be free of it, right? And that's what I'm saying. This doesn't mean it never comes up. It just means that when it does, you take a look at it and you decide that it is false evidence appearing real. F-E-A-R. False evidence appearing real. That's what fear is. And decide to change your state and instantly your physiology. You go for it anyway, you ask yourself a quality question, you create a positive association, and then you anchor that in. There are so many ways. What would you do what would you attempt? Let me ask you a question. What would you attempt right now if you knew you could not fail? If you absolutely knew you could not fail, what would you achieve, or what would you attempt in your life right now? Share them in the comments box. I want to see those answers. What would you attempt if you could not fail? Write it. What if it was just impossible for you to fail? Come on now. Awesome. Okay, great. Great. Fill it out. Good stuff. Okay, so remember the wolf strategy, WOLF, right? Find your why, know your outcome, right? Always be learning and be flexible. Well, guess what? Winners are flexible. They realize that there is more than one way and are willing to try others. So they can never fail with that mindset, because they are always finding new ways, always looking for new opportunities. And when things don't work out, they decide that both these fears of failure and fear of success are no longer going to stop them. Okay, so this is a big key takeaway. So we've got one more exercise. Right now, I want you to stand up nice and tall. Everybody stand up. Come on, stand up. Breathe deep. Smile. Feel proud. Feel absolutely strong. I want you to breathe and feel unstoppable. I want you to change your state to a strong, positive state. Change your physiology, right? Strong, put your back into it, put your chest out. Okay, now think of a time when you were feeling really great. Okay, I want you to picture that time in your head. I want you to run it in your head. And at its peak, I want you to do something, a unique move, right? An anchor that we can do, like your fingers together, or slap your hands, or slap your face. I don't care what it is. Do something. Get yourself into a peak state. Remember when you were just feeling really great, and I want you to start to anchor that in with something unique. All right? Great. Now keep visualizing this great thing, and I want you to repeat the gesture over and over, all right? Whatever it is. Just hit yourself on the chest. Get yourself in that feeling. Breathe the same way that you were when you were. Picture what you were. Run it like a movie in your head. And as you're in that peak state, I want you to anchor it in. All right? Anchor it in. Anchor it in over and over and over. And keep doing that so that later date when you're feeling good, you can link this to your unique move. All right? So feel good, unique move. Feel good, unique move. Feel good, unique move. Get yourself in that peak state. Just keep doing it over and over and over. Awesome. You're doing great. You're creating like a really positive anchor. And get yourself in a state and then anchor it in. All right? I don't care what it is. Just do something unique. You're going to anchor this stuff into your psyche. Okay, now that you're feeling great, I want you to think of a time when you felt like you failed. Then you actually failed big time, right? Pick one that really shit you, all right? I want you to think of a time in your life when you absolutely just failed, and I want you to go into that state, and I want you to replay it like a movie, like the one time, just like it happened. I want you to replay it in your head like you're watching it at a movie theater, all right? I remain standing tall, and I want you to watch it go across the screen of your memory, all right? Keep standing tall. You see everything just as it happened. Remember the time when you failed. I want you to picture it as a movie, like you're sitting in a movie and you're watching it go across the screen. And I want you to picture it just as it's happening, all right? Some of you may even feel the same feelings, right? I want you to go right to the end of the movie, and at the end of the movie, when the failure stops, I want you to stop. I want you to stand tall. I want you to feel strong, right? I want you to put a silly grin on your face like you're about to have some fun, all right? Be playful, be outrageous, be crazy. So now what I want you to do is this. I want you to run the entire movie backwards, right? Replay it in reverse, one scene at a time at hyperspeed. Right, so what you're going to do is you're going to run that entire movie that you just seen of you failing. We're going to do that backwards at hyperspeed. Okay, go. Remember, just picture it going backwards, one frame at a time, one scene at a time. I want you to add sounds, color. Right, I want you to start to change the emotion associated with the memory. Even change what people look like. Put weird faces on them or something. Paint their faces. What about paint? What about if they had big ears? Right? And they made strange sounds. Imagine, just get your imagination running wild, right? And go right back to the beginning as fast as you can. Ready? Go. Do it all the way back. Reverse it. Weird ears. Whole shit. Okay, now you're back to the start, right? Now I want you to run it. I want you to run it forward twice as fast now to the end, and I want you to stop. So run the movie again, but this time double speed. I want you to run it all the way to the end and then stop. Replay it like a movie. You're watching scene by scene. This time it's doubly fast. Go all the way. Now stop at the end, okay? Now keep making bizarre pitches as we run it backwards again, right? We're going to go backwards and forward repeatedly, but this time we're going to start to go faster and faster, and each time we're doing it, we're going to make it look even more bizarre. We're going to add even weirder stuff into the whole picture. So you're going to be watching the movie. It's going to be going forward. It's going to be going all the way back. This time you're going to be adding different creatures, different weirdness, maybe some sounds. Make it crazy. Make it just outrageous. And I want you to do it, repeat it over and over time. Go backwards. Go all the way to the end. Forwards. All the way to the end. Go backwards all the way to the end. Make it weird. Forwards. Come on, let's go. Let's do it over and over. Make it faster. Go all the way. Make that movie scramble. Picture going backwards, forwards, all the way through to the end. Picture weird stuff. There's sounds going off. There's people literally with weird ears and painted faces. What the hell's going on? Go forward, backwards, forwards, backwards. Do this as fast as you can, over and over and over again. Make the whole thing black and white now. Make it like a rainbow. It's gone from black and white, now it's got color everywhere. Make it like a rainbow. Good. Excellent. Make it go forward. Make it go all the way backwards. It's black and white. Now it's a rainbow again. There's noises everywhere. Just picture that movie going backwards, forwards, backwards, forward. This time when you failed, it's just going backwards, forwards, right? Excellent, excellent, excellent. Okay, cool. Shake it out, right? So now think about that painful memory again. I want you to run it forwards and backwards just a couple of more times, but this time I want you to see if you actually sense that there's a difference with the picture. Okay, so start to run it forwards and back, and do you start to slip into the same pattern? Is it starting to be colorful again? As strange things start happening? All right, you should start to see some stuff. You should start to be smiling. Remember, keep yourself in a nice peak state. All right, excellent. What you have just done is an interrupt to the pattern. Okay, that's a pattern of failure, and what you just did was what we call an erasure technique. All right, so next time you're gripped by the fear of failure, decide you are going to remove the fear of failure. Decide you're going to be free of this fear. Get leverage, right? Then interrupt your pattern. Use this same erasure technique, just like the one we just did. Run it backwards and forwards. Put crazy sounds, colors, off colors, go black and white. Do the whole thing. Scramble that pattern. It's imperative that you do, right? Then, what do you do after you eliminate a fear of failure? To associate success as a positive, you must reinforce anchors in a peak state. Why? Because as many people associate the fear of success as they do with failure. We explored that in the last 2 sessions about financial abundance, right? So we're very strange creatures, or strange wolves, or whatever we want to call ourselves. So to stay out of the traps where you have mixed associations, you must both erase the negative and reinforce the condition, the positive, empowering beliefs. Okay, so move yourself forward by reprogramming what failure and success actually mean to you. So here are the steps to eliminating the fear of success. Right? To eliminate the fear of success, turn the fear of pain on itself. Right? Take a moment right now and write down all that you'll lose if you don't remove the fear of success. What will it cost you? I want you to grab your pen. I want you to write down right now, what will it cost you if you don't remove the fear of success? Go. What will it cost you? What will it cost you if you keep indulging in this shit emotion? Fear of success. Write it down. List all of the things that you think of. Good. You're doing good. Come on. Let's go. We're nearly there. It's Friday. Let's push through. Okay, good. Good, good. Excellent, excellent. Now, I want you to list all that you'll gain by using your inner courage and your faith in yourself right now. What will you gain by overcoming this fear of success? Okay, write that down. Let's go. Write it down. List all the things that you'll gain if you get rid of the fear of success. Good. Write it down. Awesome. Awesome. Awesome sauce. Good. Very good. Excellent. Okay, now I want you to do the eraser technique that I just showed you with the movie to free yourself from the fear once and for all. I want you to free yourself, okay? So now I'm going to let you do that in private, but we want you to go through that process one after the other, one after the other. So I want you to scramble that pattern. Deal? Excellent. All right, now that we've talked about the fear of failure and the fear of success, let's talk about the other fear. This is a big one, even in every single human being, including me. It is the fear of rejection. Who has got the fear of rejection, right? Rejection is something people associate massive pain to, that they would do anything to avoid. I mean, how many of you feel you have this fear? Remember, this is a physiology state that only you have created because you have rules that you've made up for yourself. Let's look at some historical examples of rejection, right? You know, there's plenty of stories out there. I mean, remember the show MASH? MASH was turned down 32 times before it actually did it. Sylvester Stallone, when he was making Rocky, was turned out 1,000 agents before he actually got to make his movie blockbuster, right? He was rejected because of the disability he had with his lower jaw, which made him, you know, half paralyzed. Oh, you're Adrian. And here he was 1,000 times dejected and rejected before he actually made that hit. Now look at him, right? Now look at the man, right? Remember what I was telling you about KFC, the founder, Colonel Sanders. He was rejected 1,009 times before finally finding a person that actually wanted his chicken recipe, right? So it happens over and over and over again. But many times the fear of rejection is the core fear behind the fear of success and the fears of failure. So how do you eliminate this fear of rejection from your life? Well, we do it the same way we talked about tonight. For the fears of success and failure, you need to change your rules around rejection to more empowering rules to free yourself. See, repetition is the mother of all skill. So here is the process again. First, we've got to decide that you're not going to allow the fear of rejection to control your life, right? And number two, you need to get enough leverage on yourself to follow through. Write down the cost of not overcoming this shit fear and the benefits of being free of it, right? For example, what relationships would you not have based around the fear of rejection? Or what business opportunities would you miss out on, right? I want you to list all that down. And then step 3, you need to create a new set of rules for what must happen for you to actually feel rejected, right? So you create a new set of rules around how it actually makes you feel to feel rejection. And then you use the eraser technique to interrupt your old pattern. And then 5, you create a strong positive anchor, then fire it off as you imagine yourself being rejected. And then that way we just overcome the whole fear. Deal? So I know that's going to take a lot of practice. Watch this show a couple of times, watch this video. But honestly, if you actually get there, let me tell you a story about rejection, right? There was a man who was verbally abused Buddha constantly, right? There was a man, he was just verbally abusing Buddha. Buddha was unmoved. Buddha asked the man a quality question. He said, if someone offers you a gift and the person declines it, who does it belong to? The man replied, to the person offering it. Buddha smiled and said, that is correct. So if I decline to accept your abuse, does it not still belong to you? The man was speechless and walked away, right? So very, very powerful story, and it very much resonates with what we're talking here. See, we all have our right to our own perceptions. Sometimes people are just in a state that causes them to reject other people or stuff. They're in a rejecting state. They may or not be permanent, who knows? But they make it tough. Make it tough on yourself to actually feel rejected. Set a higher standard. Set a standard that will support you. Create new neuro associations over and over again every time somebody rejects you. Condition yourself so that when somebody rejects you, you actually makes you feel stronger, right? And make a new rule around rejection. Say something like, if somebody is rejecting me, I am probably on the right track. Deal? Or if someone is rejecting me, then I'm probably not doing enough, or whatever somebody does, they are not rejecting me, they are rejecting the idea or the offer. Or I even bring this one in, massive rejection is a key to success, right? And then I have one last one that I absolutely hammer home around rejection, and that is nobody fucking nobody gets to determine if I feel rejected. Okay? Nobody gets to determine whether I feel rejected. That is a bullshit belief, and that is not mine. So, hammer that shit home, wolves, because I can tell you right now, the fear of rejection, that fucking fear is the worst fucking thing that you ever have in your body. So get rid of the fear of rejection, get rid of the fear of success, get rid of the fear of failure, and step the fuck up, because now you're a wolf. You're in the pack, and it's time to run with the wolves. Deal? Excellent. Your perception of yourself determines how people react to you. If you walk around looking and feeling wounded or in expectation of rejection, you will probably attract more wounds, right? So get yourself in state, get yourself together, and let's rock and roll, wolves. You're a friggin' wolf. You're in the pack now, so let's rock and roll. Your exercise for tonight, wolves. Get this down. Grab a pen, write down 2 experiences when you felt you failed and 2 when you felt rejected, and a benefit that you actually gained from each one of those, right? And then the second thing, I want you to use the eraser technique with these 4 experiences. I want you to go through each one, and I want you to use that eraser technique to absolutely eliminate them, swish that shit out of your head. Okay, so what did we cover tonight? See, the thing is, we need to eliminate fears. We must learn to have control over it. It's not about trying to stop the rain. It's about learning to dance in the rain. You need to have control over it. That's the key. Don't try and stop it. Just control it. You define what must happen for you to feel successful and what must happen for you to feel a failure. Then you created new empowering definitions for these. Then what we did was we went to remove the fear of failure. You decided you're going to be free of this fear. You're going to get leverage. Then you're going to interrupt your pattern using the eraser technique, right? Reversing the movie, backwards and forwards, doing silly sounds, right? Then you imagine having the success that you want over and over again until it was absolutely real for you and became a sense of certainty so that it was emotionally conditioned into your body. Then you learn a similar strategy to deal with that shitful fear of rejection. Deal? All right, wolves, that's it tonight. It was another huge session. It's a massive week. Finish off the week 3. Oh my gosh. Wolves, we are so rocking it out. Tomorrow, day 20, it's Saturday. What I want you to do is do your priming routine. And I want you to do your soul sync. And I want you to review your learnings in the past week. It's been a huge week, right, in many ways. Lots of learnings, lots of tools, lots of strategies. I want you to take the time to reflect and take action on some of them, okay? On Sunday, I say rest and relax time, right? And if you want to, why not treat someone with just a random act of kindness? If you do that on Sunday, let us know in the group, and we'll celebrate you guys. Next week, wolves, we're going to cover some amazing topics like increasing your confidence, how to problem solve, creating your ideal physical body, relationships, much, much more. Who is in for an amazing final week next week? Have a great weekend, wolves. I want to have the wolf pack. Give me a howl. Ow! I want you to rock it out. I want you to enjoy your week and get rid of those shitful fears, wolves, because you're a wolf. And the wolf doesn't care what the fucking sheep are saying. So go get it, and I'll see you next week. On Monday, we're going to kick it into gear. Have a great weekend.